Welcome to the Quinoa podcast, everybody. Today we've got Mandy with us. Mandy, how are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you, Marie. Lovely to be with you.
So Mandy is the creator and owner of Bonbonco Land, and in the background you can see a selection of the products that are absolutely amazing. Mandy's just been giving me a huge, drive through how you make them and this kind of thing. They're absolutely fantastic. So Mandy, do you want to kind of give us an overview of what you do and how you got there?
Okay, thanks. I'm the owner of Bonbonco Land, Bonbonco and the Shrubberies, and we actually make constructible, customizable chocolate and confectionery. The range consists of shrubs, trees, avalanches, and volcanoes. The Bonbonco came from people saying, "Oh my word, it's bonkers," because they loved what they saw, and happily, so did other people when they started experiencing them. So yeah, chocolate and confectionery experienced in a completely different way, and bringing fun in an ageless and genderless way. I'm really happy with it.
So how did you get started on this journey? Because it's a very, looking at the products behind you, it seems a very interesting creative journey that you took to get where you are.
Yeah, that creativity runs in our DNA. And I came to hospitality and catering in a slightly different way to some other people. The catering college here, I mean, live in Jersey in the Channel Islands. The catering college here was running all those years ago A-level courses in cookery and food science, and it was really, really quite sciencey. And I really, really lapped it up. I enjoyed it and never stopped. Um, and throughout all my time of being a student, I created beautiful gifts, and I just got more and more excited about the possibility of creating a range that reflected my love of nature, shrubs, trees, avalanches, volcanoes. And as bonkers as it might be, people related to it really, really well. Behind me, you see a range of trees here. We have flora. We have, I was explaining before, this is the prototype, and it's made with McVitie's Jaffa cakes, because I was exploring the relationship between afternoon tea, where we could have afternoon tea with Jaffa cakes, and afternoon tree. So it's not actually for retail, it's an experiment, but I do a lot of experiments. I have a lab on the side of the house, and it's like mad professor sometimes. So this one is blackberry and raspberry, and these are pink mallows. That's a Nelly, elephant. Um, Everything we have here, the trees are all interchangeable. So I was really, really interested in exploring personalization, customization. So if we bring forward bonsai here, um, you can see that bonsai has lots of chocolate balls and leaves, tree trunk and sweeties. But the whole point of Bonbonco Land is that you can actually customize the head, the trunk, and the sweetie pebbles. People love to do that. And it's one of the reasons that I consistently get 5-star reviews, because everything is actually packed to order. There isn't a standard product. People go online and they can choose what they want to do. So if you go to bonboncoland.com and go to galleries and then to reviews, you can see how people have related to it. I can't thank them enough for the 5-star reviews we receive. So do you want me to go ahead and show people how the inner construction works?
Yes, please, because my next question is going to be, can you eat everything?
Well, you can eat everything except the pot. Okay. Now, the pot is actually food grade silicon and is reusable. We don't like waste in Bonbonco. So actually you can bake a cupcake in it and it can go in the deep freeze. So yeah, it can be used time and time and time again. Happy with that. It is an expensive component to put inside the kits, but the unique selling point of having something that can be reused, I think, is important. And we've actually got to the stage where we've got our brand on the pots too, so people do have a reminder of where the product came from. So the trees are made by having chocolate already preset, and it's the finest chocolate we can get our hands on. We've actually switched over to British chocolate now, because there wasn't something that we could use before, but we can now, and I'm very, very happy about it. The tree trunks are also made in the UK. We're trying really, really hard as a big mission statement from us of trying to support British businesses. So the only other components that are integral to every tree are two demispheres of chocolate. And they go together with the tree trunk slotting into one of them, into the pot. The other demisphere goes on top, and I hope you guys can see that because that is the interior of every tree. And because we've got smart design, we can actually rock the changes and change out a model and have it to market within 24 hours, which is actually really, really good for such a small company as ours. We went ahead then and, well, I went ahead then. Sometimes I forget how much I've actually put together here. But I had a request from a children's charity that was involved in family mediation that said, have you got anything that, you know, little hands and grandparents with limited dexterity could make up together? And so I brought forward another idea, and that became the range called the Shrubberies. So the Shrubberies is a pot of chocolate again, but inside here goes a yummy gummy garden worm. On top goes a demisphere of chocolate. And then you get to make up the crazy little dudes that you can see behind me. And there's really no end to the amount of configurations we can have. But we have jelly beans, we have blackberry and raspberry, and we have Wiggy there, which kind of reminds me of me. It's a bit wild and the hair's all crazy. So that's finally, I don't want to be take up too much of your valuable time. However, we have, this is a volcano, and it's totally edible, and it comes in the post. And again, the customization or personalization aspect of that is that you can actually drown whichever gummy characters you choose online. We have avalanches as well, but I have to say the volcano's been the out and out bestseller during the first lockdown. That was out and out favorite. And sometimes, particularly when I have to speak to the men in suits, they look at the range and say, it's for kids. It isn't, you know. I think, you know, sometimes people miss a trick. These are bought by adults for adults. And, you know, we all know what a flippin' horrible time we've had recently. And if you go on bonboncoland.com to galleries and reviews, you'll see how the public have related to the products they've received in the post. I've been so heartwarmed by it. So yeah, of course, you know, adults buy for every different generation, but I wanted something off my hit list was something that I wanted products to be ageless and genderless. And so everybody can enjoy these products. And it's nice actually to see the adults being as bonkers as I am and having fun.
So with these products, you said that you had to pivot quite quickly when you went online with them. How did that happen? Because you had an operating model before and an operating model after. How did you manage that pivot time?
We've merged the operations because one of my mistakes in creating all of this and the whole concept was actually underestimating how long it would take to find a manufacturer, picker packer, because when I realized I had a hit on my hands, I also realized that I'm one woman and I couldn't do everything. I mean, you know, I have a lab on the side of the house, but there's only so much, you know, a girl can do. So it was tricky in as much as these products were born out of events. People came to them, made up their product, it had bonded, had great fun, took them away in cellophane and a ribbon and a card and was so proud. Then I'd done KT with finally my chocolatier, who turns out to be one of my greatest friends, highly qualified chef. And she is going to be my new business partner because she deserves the accolade. She actually shut her cafe art gallery doors, and I was explaining before, cooked like a maniac for 2 NH hospitals down the road and hot school dinners, and still picked and packed through the pandemic. And that was the thing. I'd done KT, knowledge transfer, with her. I mean, she didn't need an awful lot of it but you know, it was a new concept. So we obviously got together and went through different techniques. And then COVID came along, and straight away it knocked out the event space in London that was so excited to have me. And we realized that, well, if we have boxes instead of the packages, we can send these products to people in the post. And so that's been done. And of course, now we realize that, oh, yeah, thank goodness, vaccinations are going to roll out and there will be a time when people can come back to events. But again, that's only 2 of us. So it's going to take more than that to grow a company. So I'm looking for affiliates now. And those affiliates can try and recommend product as we have them now. I mean, we have to work in what are our capabilities today, right now. However, I would like to see them come from the hospitality catering industry, or chefs, or event managers, because once people see and take part in an event, they want another one. So if we have those sorts of people, I mean, product demonstrators, if we have those people involved at an early stage where they can sample the product and they can recommend them and start making an income, because we've allowed some slack there so that people can do that. But when events become a reality again, they can actually make more income because there's more people there. But they would already have the inherent expertise to be able to run those, because I can't be everywhere. So that's kind of the thought process. That there's a lot of people in the food industry that really run for a listing, with a major retailer. Well, if I do that, then I can't help the group I really want to help, because people know that when they supply a large retailer, they have to give away a proportion to that retailer to be able to list. Well, this is going to sound a bit maverick again, but hey, we're bonkers, we're used to this. What if I don't do that? What if I actually train up the people so that they can actually make an income out of the product, and that proportion goes to them instead? I like that. I like that very much. And I get a bit emotional about that, because I'm in a happy place when I'm kind of creating and giving back and sharing. So it's early days. I actually don't know how that's going to go. So Marie, keep your fingers crossed for me. But that is what I'd like to see. And then we don't want to oversaturate. We want to be able to have demonstrators and representatives in different parts of the country, and trying to keep this as British as I possibly can. So that people don't have to drive too far to attend an event, and also those people running them don't have to be stretching themselves too far either. They could have a lot of fun with this. So hey, that's the next big game, really.
I think it's going to be amazing. So how far do you ship, and how hard have you found it to set up to do shipping as well?
We have just stayed within the UK and Crown dependencies, and for some considerable time we probably will, because what I'm seeing in all the feeds that I'm seeing with other food production, and there's lots and lots of energy going on in food creation right now, but they're having such a difficult time in either getting product in or getting particularly product out. And my heart goes out to them, because some people have got angry customers that have been waiting in Europe for 3 months now for product, and they haven't received it. And that's not good for anybody. So it will come right. I'm absolutely certain it will come right. But because this whole range started off in events, we're just going to take it back there. That's the happy place. So I'm not going to worry too much. Of course, it would be lovely to expand. And one of the reasons that I've tried very hard to make sure that my IP is as good as it can be, is to make sure that if we do have offers, either for people to produce our product in another country, which might be a better option than actually sending it from the UK, but I would very much like to be an exporter representing Great Britain exporting from the UK. So again, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know how those things are going to go, but I know that we need to have a kind of strategy to be prepared for those events. And, you know, have some sort of, we're going to have help, because I mean, I live on an island, you know, in Jersey, and there's I have to say, there's very little help for me here. You wouldn't credit it. And so I've picked the members of my team really carefully. But yeah, so for the moment, it's Great Britain and the Crown Dependencies.
And how difficult have you found it to do the whole protecting of if I can say it, intellectual
Property.
property?
I studied it. I spent quite a number of years representing the public in my local consumer council. And, you know, that was kind of scary. You have to pass an interview and you have to make sure, you know, that your heart's in the right place. But it made me even more customer centric when I saw the issues that some people were having. And so I also realized, and one of the things I did way ago was actually took product to them. And that was super scary, because they're solicitors, they're accountants, they're, you know, so highbrow in many respects. Lovely, love them to bits. I learned so much from them. They're still my good friends today. But I put product on the table and I thought, they're either going to say you're nuts, you know, quite bonkers. And they did say you're quite bonkers, but it's brilliant and you should run with it. And I was so grateful, because, you know, sometimes you've got to like go through the fire, and that might not seem like much of a challenge to anybody else, but for me that was super scary, because if they had said it was rubbish, you know, then I would have felt completely deflated. So that was a big thing. And I also learned from them that if I was going to go down this road, because you and I know, you know, running your own business can really take it out of you. You have to know that you're ready for this, you know, and steel yourself for what it's going to take. I also knew that I needed to protect my designs and my trademarks. Other bits and bobs as well, you know, some of it is confidential. We have NDAs with quite a number of people. And I'm aware that people don't always behave when they have NDAs, but that's really the framework. If you have a framework, at least you can bring them back to that. So the Intellectual Property Office is, some people might disagree, but it's actually made for people like you and me. They have so many tutorials there. And when I was sending designs in, you know, there are special ways that you can actually register your design. You've got to be really careful of the classifications, aware of those. So some of my trademarks are actually allow social media and film as well. And it was really important, because you can see these crazy characters. There's a brand of Bonbonco, but they live in Bonbonco land. And that's like, hey, that's a whole load of crazy. And possibly, you know, I'm hoping some kind of, you know, TV game or something. So that would be fun. But the site, the IPO, allows for you to study, and it allows you for you to ask questions too. So, and also the officers, you know, they're skilled and highly trained. So if they don't think something is quite right, or an image isn't clear enough for them to say a yes or a no, they will come back to you and say, please resubmit. So it was a learning process, like most of the things, you know, that have happened in my life. They're all learning processes, but that's not a bad thing. And so there are instructions online on how to register trademarks as well. And, you know, if the name isn't taken, you can have it, depending on you know, on the view of the officer in charge. So it does require study. That's why, you know, there are, but it's not a patent. That's very different. And quite often people get confused between patents and design registrations and trademarks and logos. They're all very different animals. And I did some of the webinars on there and saw, for example, an architect and designer from Sweden, a professor in a university, and he had lots and lots of design registrations under his belt. And his whole firm relied on design registrations rather than patents because they're strong. I mean, we can look at instances in the UK where you know, large companies have thought they could go to somebody and pinch their idea, and that person comes up and saying, no, 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 look, this is something that I created and registered on such and such a date, and it's available to you and me. It sounds, you know, it's not black magic. You can learn it, and and it is a very useful site, I think. Sometimes, you know, when I was registering different things, they would send like little surveys back saying how are you doing, and I would always go back, you know, with something positive and say thank you, because I think it's quite rare to be able to find a way to protect your IP that you can learn and you can do.
I think it's not expensive either, is it? But it's absolutely vital if you're going to protect what it is that you're making.
Well, I think it's vital because I've spent a lot of time and energy and passion. I'm very passionate about, you know, giving great product for people to have fun with, and munch away at the end of it, you know. And so if I'm going to do that, I'm going to try and do my best to do what I can to protect them. Now, there's going to be some other lawyer or advocate, you know, somebody at the bar who's going to say, no, this is totally wrong, you know, but that's not what the IPO have told me. In fact, you know, there are parts on there that say this is for people like you and me, who can go on there. I know knowledge is power, so research, learn. These are all opportunities to enrich your capability. But I'm not the only one out there that has actually registered their own IP. Not by far. There are lots and lots of you know, businesses who have done that themselves.
I think it's.
I might get told off now by somebody else who think, you know, but then there's guidance on everything. So anyway, that was my route. That's what I've done.
No, I think it's worth it for any business. I mean, I've got trademarks and copyrights and design reviews on some of my products, because I think if you're going to take the time and effort, like you clearly have, to design something like this, you want to protect it so that you can get the profit from it. Otherwise, people can just take the idea and just do what they want, and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, I've got a little bit more altruistic about it, because if I don't have something to give, then how can I help other people make an income? Because, you know, it is my designs and my IP that is enabling them to do that. And that's of course a two-way street, because the people that I hope to engage with to do this, we need to have a good sort of bond between us so that they don't misrepresent my brand, or brands, because you know, it was valued, what I created was valued at quite an early age. Quite an early age, it was quite an early age, but it's quite a long time ago. And that was even before the shrubberies came out. And so there is value there. So I won't want to be engaging with people that are going to trash my brand. That would be stupid. So as much as I want to be able to enable people to run great events, build great businesses, I also need to know that what I'm letting them use is also protected as well. So there's going to be some kind of agreement, so that, and everybody has that, you know, when you work for somebody, which I don't want that situation. I want them to be able to be free to plan their own lives. But there is always some kind of contract that is trying to manage a set of behaviors, I suppose, to make sure that everybody gives the best of themselves, and the best for the brand they're representing. That's normal.
How important do you think it is to pick the right team members while you're creating your business?
For me, it's been massive. Like I said about my chocolatier now, she's a hero, actually, because, you know, closing her doors and cooking for 2 NHS hospitals and hot dinners, and she's still helping people, you know, today. And then being able to have food professors and technologists that I can go to and say, you know, in your experience, how would have you handled this? And I don't have to do it so much now, but in the early days, you know, I was yeah, always asking questions. If I couldn't find it out myself, I do try and make an effort to find out first. But our team is really tight, and that seems to be a feature of lean startups anyway. I have really made this so tight because we didn't have many resources. And in fact, the professors and technologists, they work in universities as well. They're, you know, really clever, and they understand the way, you know, lean startups have to be. You can't go out and be, you know, wasting time and energy and money willy-nilly. You have to be really, really focused. And so this is really reflected in the designs you've seen, that everything can be interchanged, because we need something that people can manage. And of course, I had to do KT with my chocolatier. That had to be passed on. And luckily, because she's a really, really excellent caterer and highly qualified chef, she doesn't like waste either. And so we make sure that we try and keep things. It's great to have choices, but it has to be always, when you're dealing with personalization and customization, there has to be a limit of what you can put out there. And I did make a mistake in the early days. When I was doing it, there was orange flavored chocolate, there was chili chocolate, there was all sorts. And I said, for goodness sake, Mandy, again, you're only one woman, rein it back. So the contents of our pots now are the finest milk chocolate, and we know people love it. But we are looking at vegan product as well. And that's another great thing, because I love to innovate. Sometimes, you know, I miss not, you know, casting chocolate. I miss not playing with all the bits that go to make a product. So by bringing in some vegan product, I'm going to be able to go back and do all that all over again. That's my happy place.
It's so hard to do this interview looking at all the chocolate behind you. I'm just thinking I want to eat it all.
Oh, bless. I'm glad you do. Yay.
So just one last question, because we're coming to the end now. So what do you think is the thing, and there's so much that you enjoy clearly, but what is the thing that you enjoy most about this process?
I enjoy innovating. The range here isn't the only thing I've got going, but it is the baby we want to see, you know, walking and running and becoming an entity in its own right by itself. But I have another range that dovetails perfectly into this. I'd like to explore that. Of course, the vegan products that we're looking at now are very exciting as well. And what do I love most? I love putting smiles on people. Oh, this is going to sound really, really cheeky, but I love that people have fun with the product. When you're actually passing on something that makes people happy and helps them bond and brings them back to the table, that's the mission here. That's exactly what I love to do. I love that the most.
Wow, well, it's been an absolute pleasure interviewing you today, Mandy, and all your little friends in the background. Would you like to tell us where we can find you on the internet?
Well, bonboncoland.com is the place where all the land where all the Bonbonco characters live. So, you know, if you want to come and see all the crazy, that's where you come, bonboncoland.com.
So if you want to buy one of the little friends in the background, or make your own customizable chocolate, it's Bonbonco Land, and we'll link all this below so that you can just click straight through and buy as many as you want. I'm looking at them now thinking, which one do I want? So it's been lovely to interview you today, Mandy. Thanks for being a guest.
Maria, it was really kind of you to invite me. Thank you.